Good evening, Mohit. It's so nice to see you.
Hello and good evening, sir. The pleasure is all mine. Thank
So,
you for hosting.
can we begin with a little introductions?
Yes, sir, sure.
Starting with you. Yeah.
Uh, so I'm Mohit Jaiswal here, and I'm from Bihar. I was brought up in Jharkhand, and then my later schooling happened in Kharagpur, West Bengal. Kharagpur is my feared word, and I always include it in my introduction. uh,
Are you able to speak
uh,
some Bangla? Are you able to speak some Bangla? Bangla বলতে
একটু
পারবে?
একটু 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 বলতে পারবে
I also একটু বলতে পারবে। A little bit.
খুব ভালো স্যার, খুব ভালো, খুব ভালো। So a part of my schooling, higher secondary, and my uh, uh, 12th was from Kharagpur. I completed my schooling from Kendra Vidyalaya IIT Kharagpur. My school was situated in the campus of IIT, and I felt really blessed about my school because the exposure I got at an early age, at the age of 14, 15 years old, of that IIT campus, that shaped my perspective of life, the way I think about life, and from there on, I got inspired that I should pursue science and move on to the engineering field. Later on, after my 12th, I I completed my graduation, bachelor's of technology in mechanical background from NIT Durgapur, and and it was in 2012 that I graduated, and I was recruited through campus interview, and and I got recruited to Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. That was in 2012 when I joined HL, and since then I've been associated with Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. I joined Hindustan Aeronautics Limited as a design trainee, as a 21 year old boy, and after 12 years and two promotions, right now I'm working as a manager in aircraft research and design center. Uh, on my personal front, I got married last year uh, uh, to my beautiful wife Jyoti, and this February this March I was blessed with a baby boy. We have named him Pratham. You can say that it was one of my biggest fear until in my college life. I thought that in college, as everyone got job, I will also get job. I'm from a reputed institute. I had studied hard, so getting a job was natural. But somehow I had a learning curve ahead, and same with finding love and getting married. But as you rightly said, both the boxes are now happily ticked, and I'm at that stage of my life where I'm enjoying every day as it passes. Thank you, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So, I mean, it's not just ticking the boxes. I would say finding someone whom you can love and spend life with and fathering a child. All these are not something to be scoffed at. These are important achievements in life. And
Yes,
so I just want to come back to one point which you mentioned some time back, that your schooling happened in IIT campus in Kharagpur.
yes, yes.
So is it right to say that from the very childhood you got a little dose of ambition because you were schooling in IIT campus, you were seeing the very high level scientific training and education going on all around you. Is it right to say that
Y-
you have ambition
y- y-
because of that?
You can say so, sir. I'll give a brief background about what my family does. My father is a lawyer. My youngest sister is a lawyer practicing in excise department for Bihar. My younger sister to me was a lawyer, and 3 years back she has become a magistrate now. So all my father wanted from me was to become a magistrate, become a judge. However, that campus of IIT had something in for me. Uh, I did not get hooked to the science as such. I got hooked to the culture of IIT, the way in which people pursued things with passion. When you see a culture of an IIT campus, how they work, how they pursue things, how they pursue even co-curricular activities, the festivals which happens in the college, or the sports meet that happen, the way in which they approach those things, it made me think that I want to go to an IIT. But as life would go around, I ended up in an NIT, and from there onward, I've chosen my own path.
But I think it's a big achievement that you did not end up becoming a magistrate or a lawyer. I mean, no, I don't mean any disrespect, but you decided to break the family tradition.
You'll not believe, my father was asking until 2 years back that why don't you quit your job, pursue LLB, and then and then write that exam for magistrate, because he's pretty confident that I might clear it, but
I'm
I'm
sure you
not
will
so
do
sure.
it. I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. I mean, but the thing is, that if you're happy
Right.
in a SL kind of environment where research, technology, science, all these are so highly valued.
Right. Right.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, because I asked this question for one reason, that many children sometimes uh, suffer from the lack of ambition. Somehow, the
Right,
family is
sir.
not able to give them a dose of ambition, and sometimes the family sort of gives them a very predetermined kind of thing that your father was a doctor, so you have to become a doctor.
Right, right. My father always wanted me to become a magistrate, but at no point he forced me into that path. He always tried persuading me, but somehow I had my mind clear that I like science. I like what I'm doing. I'm good at it. So let me see how far I go in this.
Great. I'll come to the next question, which is when did you hear and how did you hear about TISA?
Yes, sir. That is also part of my college life. That in colleges like NITs, IITs, you have a recruitment, campus recruitment happening in the final year. So my final year was from 2011 June to 2012 May, and most of the recruitment happens in the first semester itself, and some part happens in the second semester, because you have lot of formalities in the second semester. So the most of the recruitment happens in the first semester itself of final year. Now all my friends were placed by the time, at the end of the first semester. I had appeared several interviews, and without having any success in that. And at the end of the second semester, I thought I have to do something. I have to do something that should change the course. Obviously, stammering, I felt, was an
I just want to stop.
impediment.
I want to stop you here for just for 1 second. Sorry. I want to just understand this thing. In the first semester, second semester, how much was stammering a problem for you? I mean, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much
I
marks will
would
you give it?
say, I would say at the beginning of the first semester of final year, we don't call it as first semester. We call it as seventh semester. So
Okay.
at the beginning of the seventh semester, stammering was not an issue, but as I kept facing interviews, and somehow people who were not as good as me, or maybe not as hardworking as me, when they got success, and over the period of 4, 5, 6 months I was not seeing any success, I started blaming everything on stammering. That maybe that is the reason that I am not going through. So at that point, at the end of the seventh semester, I chose to stay back in college when all my friends were happily home celebrating their newly gotten job. And at that time, I had googled on internet and somehow found the website of TISA, where I found the contact of Jay Prakash Sunda sir. At that time, he was working in Infosys. So on the phone, he persuaded me uh, with quite a calm voice and an appeal that you please join us for NC National Conference, which will be happening at the end of the year. So that is how I first came to know about TISA.
Okay, okay, got it. Yes. So, so when you came to this national conference in Bhubaneshwar, and I believe it was like 5 days, no? It was right at the cusp of
Right,
2011
right,
and 12,
right.
winter. I mean, we had
I think
soon after Christmas, it was
I
there.
think I think it was from 26th or 27th of December till 31st or 1st of January. It was like that.
Yes, yes, yes. We celebrated New Year's there. I still remember.
Yes, yes, sir,
So
yes,
when you
right,
came
right.
to the national conference, what were your thoughts? I mean, did you have some kind of reservations, some kind of fear or
Sir,
doubts? How is this going to help me? Will it help me or not?
to be honest, I came there with modest of expectation. Because I had already done speech therapy in my third year. A unique professor of ours used to take attendance by asking roll number to everyone, and my roll number was ME79, and 7 was a word which won't come out of my mouth anytime. So I had already undergone speech therapy in my third year, and with the purse such in charge of the speech language pathologies and a very light pocket, I could not continue that. And I could see that the person is offering me tools to tackle my blocks, but I'm not able to apply them, I'm not able to use them. I have the tools, but I don't have an environment to practice that. Now cut short to the national conference. When I reached there, I had modest of expectation, because before that, somehow through internet, through some tech research, I had searched delayed auditory feedback, and I had practiced that also. That also had modest help. Now, this national conference, I came just because Jay Prakash sir was able to convince me that you come. The only thing you have to do is come and witness what is happening over there. I kept on asking that, can you offer me a solution? Can you cure my stammering? Can you help me out? The only thing he offered was, we can give you lodging, we can give you accommodation. The only thing you have to manage is just come here. I thought, fair enough. Let's go there and see what's out there. To be honest, I had not heard about TISA until then. To be honest, I was not knowing how it will help me. I had only gone there out of sheer persuasion of JP sir.
And the one thing I want to know, so when you attended the NC, and how did it change your attitude and how did it benefit your next successful interview, campus interview? What
Yes,
change
sir.
came over?
So, first of all, NC was an eye opener. In my entire batch of 650 people of college, I knew only two people who stammered, and that was me and one of my basketball friend. And he had a good grip over his stammering. He had taken speech therapy, and somehow he had a good grip over it, and I did not have any grip over it. So when I saw a bunch of 30-40 people who were stammering, at the same time they're doing extremely well in their life. I met somebody who had completed his graduation from Jamia Millia, and was Microsoft HR. I met JP sir. I met Pramendra, who was working at Bark at that time. I met people who had ambitions to start up their own company. I met people who were pursuing CA. I met you. who is all together an inspiration. So when I first met you guys, all it gave me was a sense of normalcy about me, that it's okay that I stammer. A lot of people stammer and they're doing really well in their life. So that first thought got dissolved in my head, that it does not matter. My stammering does not matter. I have to look for other things that matter. And am I good enough in that? So that got me thinking over there. That was the first thing that hit me in that NC.
Yeah. So after the LC, you came back to your campus, to your college, and then I believe there was an interview which you this time you cracked it.
Yes, sir. After
So
that,
tell me about that.
I attended two more interviews. Before that, I had done 15 interviews, and then 15 were unsuccessful by some fault of mine, or something the employer did not like. But post the NC, I attended two interviews, and I got picked in both of them. Uh,
Amazing,
Thank you, sir.
amazing. So how did this happen? I mean, I want to scientifically understand what happened
Mm.
between the failed 15 interviews and these two successful interviews. What transpired?
Uh,
What happened? What change came over
at
you
times,
or your speech?
as I told you in the background, as I said in the background, that at the beginning of the seventh semester, stammering was not a baggage for me, but multiple unsuccessful interviews made stammering a baggage for me. And then I started seeing everything through my lens of stammering. So when that lens got cleared in NC, I understood that no, it is not the thing which is blocking me. My negativity and my negative approach is blocking me. So that changed actually. And I approached the interview with a lot of gumption, that I know my thing. If the person grills me on the technical part, I know that anyone he is interviewing, I am a eligible and a and most suitable candidate for the company. So over there that change, that I saw my strengths more, rather than whatever weakness was clouding my entire strength. And more importantly, in both the interviews I accepted that, sir, I am a stammerer, and at times it might happen that I might take a few seconds more, or I might have a block. That does not mean I'm nervous. I- i- if I'm not aware about anything, I'll be upfront about it. That's a I don't know the answer, but allow me some time. uh, and both of the interview panels were quite positive about it, and they did not even notice it. They told, okay, please, you can carry on with your introduction, and and the interviews went right up.
So I can paraphrase it in this way that interaction with other stammerers who were successful, who were holding jobs, married, all those things, it help you to understand that stammering is not what is holding me back. I
Right.
can discount my stammering and I can focus on my strength,
Yes.
so that when you came back, you were more confident of your competence
Right,
as a
sir.
student, as a as an interviewee. So I mean, you were clear that if there's something which I know, I can certainly talk about it. Stammering is not going to
uh,
hold me back.
Yeah, right, sir. I would say that at the beginning of my seventh semester, when I had not undergone interview, stammering was an elephant in the room about whom I was not talking, and over the period of time, I started talking so much, that there was no room except the elephant. And over the period of time, I understood that it is just part of my of myself, and it needs to be addressed in that way. It can't be addressed like an elephant, and at the same time it can't be ignored.
And based on these insights, you change your strategy of approaching these interviews. And
Definitely, sir.
you
Definitely.
began talking upfront about that. Look, I sometimes
Right.
stammer. If I am stuck, just give me some time.
Yes.
So, so tell me more about taking this big step, because there are many young people who are very frightened of accepting upfront that they stammer, especially in a job interview. So, how did this change
Uh,
for you?
at first, sir, I would say that the experience of NC was that I could see the lighter side of stammering also. Otherwise, stammering used to be a very negative and very heavy side. Whenever I used to have a block that used to depress me for days and weeks. But after attending NC, I realized that it is just a block.
Yes.
I got stuck. I got stuck. It's okay. Earth has not
Because
stopped moving because I stopped.
because
Uh,
in the LC because in the LC we made so much fun of our stammering. We had so
right,
much fun.
right,
We laughed and
right.
joked about it. And if you remember, there was a American speech therapist, Elaine
Yes,
Robin.
Elaine.
Elaine,
Yes,
she also was a stammerer. She also was totally cool about it.
yes,
So I think all these were
yes.
pretty strong role models for all of us. What message will you give
So
to a
the
young person who's looking for a job?
uh, I would like to approach this question with a thing like what I did, what I should not have done, and what I should have been doing. So first of all, uh, I treated my I treated my stammering as an impediment, and that helped me also, and that has harmed me also. It has helped me in the way that I always saw myself as having a handicap of stammering, so I have to work harder. So naturally, working harder came to me, that I need to work hard. I need to work harder than anyone in the room because I already have a handicap that I won't be able to present it. It has its pros and cons both. That because I worked so hard, I was naturally having a better grip on the subject, better grip on the things I was doing. But at the same time, it also pulled me back whenever I was required the most. Whenever I had to highlight that how good I am. So I would say that not to treat uh, stammering as an impediment as such. A good job that TISA and also SHGs, which are present across India, that do is that they make you understand, or they help you understand that stammering is not an impediment in your life. It is not stopping you from doing anything. So once you learn that thing, that it is not stopping you from doing anything, you unleash a very big potential for yourself. And as early as you do it, I got to do it at cusp of my graduation, at the time I needed it the most. And you'll not believe that I had not changed anything about the way I had prepared for interview. I had not changed anything. I do whatever rituals I have before an interview or anything, and everything went smoothly post that. Only because I stopped treating stammering as an impediment, as a block in my life. So I would want our viewers, our listeners, to first of all treat it as part of yourself, and try to see the lighter side of it. I could see that post NC in my college time. When I could see the lighter side of it, my friends liked me more. Earlier, they used to see me as a very intense person, a very serious person, who is always into himself, who can always get angry with even smallest of the thing, who is very emotionally charged. But if you see the lighter side of it, then it changes your perspective. It opens your social side also. And I could see that post that I have made a lot of friends. In my college, I had handful of friends. So I would I would want our listeners to change their approach in the way in which they are seeing their stammering. Accept it as it is, as TISA always uh, helps us understand that accept your stammering, but don't accept it in a negative way that okay, I stammer, what do I do? Accept it that it is there. And at the same time you should keep working on your skills. Because I used to treat it as an impediment and I took it upon myself that I have to work hard. Somehow I reached there that I had that the talent within me. I had the requisite skill that was required for cracking an interview. But suppose I had not taken it in that way. Suppose that you go into a shell. That all right, my life is done, I can't do anything with stammering. That has also happened to a lot of people, and we should not see stammering in that light. We should be seeing we should be seeing stammering in more of a neutral light, rather than negative or positive light. uh, and at the same time, whatever you're doing, you're in college, you're in school, you're in your workplace, there's always scope to learn as much as you can. Have the requisite skills. If you have the skills, somehow your stammering will be overshadowed rather than other way around. That your stammering will overshadow your work. Your work always wins rather than the way in which you speak. So focus on your skills. See stammering in a more neutral light, from a third person point of view rather than from personal point of view. We get very deeply involved in our stammering, very deeply, and that help holds us back. So I think if that can be done, it would help a lot of people. It might have helped me a lot. If I would have understood it, I would have made a lot of friends in my college life. I realized it very late. I was almost about to graduate. After 2 months my college ended, when I realized it. So
Now you are located in Bangalore, and I believe you have
yes,
been participating in Bangalore SHG, which meets in Cubbon Park.
yes,
So,
sir.
what are your perception about Bangalore SHG? Is it doing well? Is it benefiting its members?
From personal point of view, I can say that I started attending SHG from the age of 21. I started attending SHG as a boy, and slowly I have matured through the ages. So uh, I have met all age group of people over there. So they acted as my mentor, at the same time colleague, friend. So for me, uh, apart from the speech aspect of SHG, working on my speech aspect, SHG provided me a very comfortable new social circle. So from that point of view, I really appreciate Bangalore SG that they have accepted me wholeheartedly and provided me an opportunity to grow as a person. And I can see that the way in which I was speaking in 2012, 2013, that has changed quite a bit, and that is because of the opportunity that Bangalore SG gave me. Now, I would like to bring upon the earlier conversation we had, that the speech therapist gave me the tools to work upon, but not a platform. Now, SHGs give you that platform to use those tools. More or less, everyone knows what are the tools. You have to speak slowly. You have to prolongate the vowel. If the sounds are you're thinking you'll have a block, try to take a breath. So these kind of thing, then bouncing, then force repetition. These things, these tools everyone knows about, but unless you get a comfortable environment where you can practice it, it gets really hard to implement them. As a stammerer, or as a non-stammerer also, if you ask anyone to implement these things, these are not the tricks you can master within a week, or or a month. It takes time. It takes time, a comfortable environment where you can play around with your speech, and then you can imbibe it in yourself. So in that way, Bangalore SHG has helped me, and also from social point of view, it gave me a new social circle in a completely new place. I had never been to anywhere south from Kharagpur. So Bangalore SG was really wholeheartedly welcoming to me.
And Bangalore SHG is one of the oldest SHGs, and it has got the benefit of having some very wise people around.
Right, right.
In, in,
And talking about wise people, we can't forget our Dinesh.
yes, yes,
uh,
Dinesh, yes,
he, 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 he has acted as a mentor, as a brother to me. And whenever I have found myself in a hard spot, whether in personal life or in professional life, or even in terms of my speech, he has always been there, and always shown me a shining light that this is the path I could navigate through, I could try, and more or less always it has worked in my favor.
very true, very true. I mean, a SHG can succeed only if it has got members like that. Members, if you've got couple of members like Dinesh, then you can be sure that SHG will continue functioning very well. And
Right.
Bangalore SHG has got very strong traditions of meeting in common path, having a kind of good, a good, good communal feeling of a community, interacting outside
Right.
of SHGs also, interacting and helping each other.
Yes.
So Bangalore is a sweet spot on TISA map. And so, so talking about SHGs in general, what advice would you give to any SHG listening out there, any SHG who wants to improve its game? What advice would you give them?
um, Sir, I have two three pointers that come instantly to my mind. So, so the first one would be your attendance in the SHG, your regularity in the SHG. The more regular you are, if you invest 6 months to 1 year, uh, 1 year of your weekends to SHG, you can reap the benefits then. But being on and off in SHG does not help so much, because you don't feel invested. And from personal point of view, I have always seen that wherever you are more invested, you learn more. If you're not that invested, you're not able to extract the juice out of it. So
Very true.
uh, I feel that SHG works in that way. And 90% of the time, I see people attending meetings for 1 to 3 meets, and then falling off into their day-to-day task, or their meetings, or their personal life, or anything, and then later on thinking that SHG was not that helpful. But if you give it some time, I know that it works.
It's very, it's
uh,
very, it's very obvious because I'm also doing some online courses, and I've done actually many online courses for free, and I've noticed that I have benefited only from those courses, even
mm,
though they were free, but I was engaged with them. I was attending their exercises. I was doing the writing
right,
assignments.
right, right,
I was
right, right,
participating
sir.
in discussion groups. So only when I engaged in with a online free
Yes, sir.
program, only then I was able to reap the benefits. And there were other programs where I simply browsed. And 3 months
Mhm.
later, I even forgot what did I browse. I totally forgot
Right,
also
sir.
the title of the program also.
I have an analogy here to give that in case of market, whatever market is the equity market is there. If you are invested in it and if you are invested for a longer period of time, you can reap the benefits. You can't reap the benefits of market by watching it from side, or
Yes.
or investing for a day and thinking that I might make a fortune. So I think SHG also works in that way. The only thing is you need not have to invest years in it. Uh, Probably 6 months of regularity or an year might yield you good tangible results. Apart from that, another point that I would like to add is that in our SHG we do a lot of speeches, a lot of monologue is going on, and because of that monologue at times it gets disinteresting to a lot of people. If you have a bigger group on a good Sunday, we might have 15-18 people in our Bangalore SHG Kaban Park, and and if a person has a speech of 7 to 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, uh, people get really impatient from inside. So from speeches model, we can move on to the model of debates, where we can actively debate. We can make few teams, two teams, where for and against people can continuously speak and probably extract feedback from the other team that how they were speaking. I think that would be more real life situation, and more engaging, and more competitive for people, I would say. I also believe that competition brings out the best out of you. Yeah, if you have someone to look up to, if you have someone to win over, you would naturally want to do well, and slowly over the period of time that gets ingrained as a practice. So that is another point. uh, Apart from that, uh, I, I remember that I was rewarded by Dinesh in 2015 SHG once for 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 saying out the best poem. It was pre-decided that people will recite a poem, and I had practiced it enough to be more confident on the stage, and I got rewarded with a pen. I think that incentive gave me a lot of push to attend more meetings, to do even more better. Although the incentive is not a bigger one, it was a small pen, but the gesture of being rewarded for doing something good, especially in terms of speech, uh, that that pulls you up.
Very
I think if that can be formalized a bit, if senior people take initiative and formalize this system of rewarding people on their speech, on their doing good, I think the issue of attendance, what I'm saying about irregularity, could also be sorted. So these are the three main pointers I had about SHG, that if we incorporate, we can make it even more effective and even more penetrative to people.
so in other words, you are saying that the stammerer must engage and SHG
Yes.
should become more attractive by
Yes.
by rewarding individual initiatives,
Yes.
individual efforts. Even if somebody stands up and introduces himself or herself, uh, there should be some seniors who should reward that or recognize that. So I think all these are very valid points, and they are not rocket science. I mean, and if SHG wants to be more popular, it has to offer a very appealing menu.
Mm.
It can't be that
Yes.
eight people are giving 1 hour long speech. It has to be more than that. It can't be that every SHG meeting you simply introduce yourself. It can't be that.
Yes, sir.
It has to be more
On a
diverse and rich.
on a Sunday afternoon, people get really impatient about long speeches. they, they're like, I have come this far to speak and I'm not getting to speak. I want to go back home. I can't go home.
Very true.
So
Very true. That's very true. So now coming to TISA overall TISA, you have been in touch with TISA off and on for a long time. I
yes,
think
yes.
I think you had a really long association coming uh, for the first NC and then being in touch with Bangalore SHG. So would you like to give any advice to TISA? Any suggestions to TISA?
Uh, uh, First of all, sir, the way in which TISA is held up loosely and yet in an integrated way, I think it really it defines what an SHG should be, and and it is doing a fantastic job of uh, giving platform to stammerers to voice up their opinions and and raise their voice. So in that way, I think TISA is doing a great job. But if I had to anyhow uh, give some suggestion, some feedback, I would uh, like to say that uh, right now we are quite loosely associated with each other. Uh, but in a way that if in case we can have a mentor system sort of thing, where any young new person who is 17-year-old 18-year-old who is not able to navigate his way through this journey of dealing with stammering and everything, and somebody is there to hold his hand, I think that that gives him a lot of hope to go forward. And I know that everything in TISA, whatever is offered is pro bono and is free of cost. And I know that even if I am asked to do such job, I'll do that happily. But I don't think we have any integrated system in which uh, for young new people we are having a mentor system, where someone who has gone through this journey for a while can can help. I think we will find enough volunteers across India, across SHG, who might be readily accepting uh, people whom they can mentor. I'm not talking about speech therapy as such, uh, but just navigating through the journey of stammering acceptance and how one one feels about stammering across various stages of acceptance. We all know that acceptance is not a one shot drink that आज हुआ और अगले दिन सब हो गया. It takes time. So I think that would be really helpful. I was really fortunate that I met Dinesh in Bangalore SHG, and he has helped me navigate through this path uh, uh, easily. So I think it will be a boon for everyone who is joining TISA. Um, and apart from that, uh, I feel that sometimes the national conferences which are happening, it becomes an impediment for people who are traveling from really far. Like last time we had national conference in Bihar. Although it is my home state, sometimes it gets challenging for me to travel that far and get back overnight. If at all we can have regional conclaves, multiple regional conclaves, like a conclave of South Indian states, a conclave of Central Indian states, or the Western states, the Northern states, Eastern states, a conclave of Northeastern states, and anyone who is willing to join from any part of the country, they can join. But if we have a regular regional meets, what it does is that the the attendance at NC, the feeling of NC will be more dispersed. It will be more dispersed at a grassroots. level. uh, it might be too idealistic to think. It might have some logistic challenges also, but I feel that it will have more impact.
I think these two ideas are very practical ideas, and in fact, some people have been talking about it for last quite some time. This mentorship program, and second thing, having
Yes.
regional meetings. I mean, the way TISA organizes a national conference once a year, it can easily, organize a smaller version at the regional level. It can be done. It can be done. Now
And
we've got a huge family of volunteers.
yes, and you see that the high of NC
Uh,
lasts until 2 months, maximum 2 months. Uh, w- if a younger person, a 17, 18 year, 19-year-old gets another high within say 3, 4 months, 5 months, I think he'll be sticking to TISA longer and more effectively rather than drawing back and being lost in his own self. So I felt that these two can be, if it can be incorporated, it would make TISA more effective. Not that it is any less effective right now, but I want I want our organization to be even more effective. And one last thing that I want to add is that the same competition thing that I talked about, SHGs, if the same thing we can conduct in a national level, think about the person who is winning a debate competition at national level of TISA. Uh, Think about the booster to the confidence of his public speaking and uh, his confidence on himself. So if we have a tier wise regional level competition of some debates or some speech or impromptu topics, and then we can raise it up in hierarchy. Like, I was in Kendriya Vidyalaya. In Kendriya Vidyalaya, we used to have inter-school meets of the region, and then we used to have zonal meets, and then we used to have a national meet, and then we used to compete with all the best schools of India. So in that way, what it used to do, a person playing national, a person playing at India level competition, it gives a real sense of confidence in him about his skill. I think if that can be incorporated, I know that it is way too much task. I know that it will be really really challenging to implement. But if we have that hierarchy kind of thing of competition, it also keeps people motivated. See, we might have people who are already fluent competing in that, but still somebody has something to aspire for.
I totally agree.
You
I totally
have,
agree. All this can be
if you
done. I
have
mean,
some,
in fact, Harish is
yes,
already doing it in his own way. For example, recently he organized a writing competition where people sent stories, short stories, poetry, all kind of things, and then he went through all their submissions. And he recently gave out a large number of awards to these aspiring writers. So things are
right.
happening. But what you are saying is a next level of thing where you have regional competitions, then national level competitions, and people
Yes, sir.
winning. This can be done,
uh,
but this
See,
will take time.
sir, I feel that I am a big sports fan. I've played sports all my life. I used to play a lot of basketball, and lately I've moved on to cricket since 7 years. And I've always seen that competition always brings out the best in you.
I totally agree. I
uh,
totally agree.
if you're competing wholeheartedly, you can draw every single ounce of your thing, of your zeal, of your confidence, of your energy, and slowly you see yourself migrating into becoming another person, a better person while competing. And always when you compete one level higher, you always learn. If I speak with you more frequently, I will always aspire to be like you. So
I
I
agree.
think competition brings that positive aspect into it. So
I will
these
pass
were my
on both these. I will pass on both these ideas to Harish and core team, and I'm sure they will. I'm sure they're already they have already started
yes,
thinking
sir.
along
I
these
know
lines.
that. I
But
know
these are
that.
very valid, valid ideas. Mm.
Yes.
Now I want to come to the second theme. Second theme, because many people in our audience would be wondering about the second area of concern, which is relationships. So
Yes,
they
sir.
have understood from you how to apply for a job interview and how to
Yes, sir.
apply these ideas of acceptance to a job interview. Now I think you should tell us a little bit about relationships. How should a PWS, the average young PWS, should approach women if they want to talk to them? Should they at the very outset say, "Look, I talk funny."
Sir, I have an interesting analogy for this. That suppose you are a businessman, and you have a chair, which you are trying to sell. Now, as you have made this chair, or you have undergone the seeing that how this chair was made, you know that it has some flaws. But if at all a customer shows up at your shop, how, how will you treat that chair? You might not start with the worst of its flaws. That this chair, when it was made, its leg was having one knot. You might not start with that. You might start with the feature of chair which is most evident. If the chair is attractive, if the chair is good looking, you'd say that it is an attractive chair. If it goes into your living room, it will make your living room beautiful. Y- you would not be pinpointing every small of it flaws, that once one nail, when it was put, it was not put properly, we had to repair it. You might not pinpoint every one of its flaw or every one of its characteristic to the person you are trying to sell. At the same time, you're not being dishonest to the people, right, sir? See, your job is to sell that chair. You have to be honest to the customer also. You have to be honest to your business also. And I think the same way goes about a relationship. You can't start any relationship with, I am bad at this, I can't do this. Uh, 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 this is my worst flaw. See, you as a person are more than the way you speak, and over the period of time, the way in which you speak, it will naturally pop up. It is not rocket science. If you could hide it so well enough, then we might not be having this conversation at all. I think stammering, if it comes out naturally, as the flow of chair comes out naturally to the customer, it makes more sense. It makes more accepting of the customer. Otherwise, what would happen, that you would not be able to sell that chair ever, and you would not want to be that chair and screaming out that I have these flaws. If at all you think it is a flaw, it should come out organic, uh, organically, rather than you shouting it out. And whom
Actually,
we are trying
actually,
to
I
impress.
would like to ask you, have you and your wife ever talked about it at any point?
Yes, sir.
Was it arranged marriage?
No, sir, it was not. It was
You
not.
knew each other. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
before marriage, did you ever formally talk about it?
Not in a formal sense, but I have over the period of, let's say, 4, 5, 6 years, felt so confident about my speech, about my stammering, that I have not given it that importance, that whenever I am talking anybody important, I should let them know that, hey, I am a stammerer, I might take time, or is that so? uh, I was the one who had announced it to the interviewer, that see, I am a stammerer, but that does not mean that I'm nervous. Maybe at that time I was not so confident about my speech. I knew that I'll definitely have and that would bother me. But I don't think that happens more frequently anymore. I would not say that it is eliminated, but it does not bother me so much. So I don't think about announcing it to anyone I'm talking to, whether it be a very higher up in my company, or whether it be any new person, a friend, or anyone. I know that in our conversation, somewhere or the other, he or she might sense it, but still, that is not a point of concern for me at this point. But it was few years ago.
So actually, what I'm trying to
So
understand, what I'm trying to understand is this, that a man-woman relationship, married or
yes,
before marriage or whatever relationship, I mean, even as friends, will relationship improve if once for all we talk about it and be done with it?
I'm not sure, sir. I have. I'm not sure that it might improve, but I'm definitely sure about something that this is not something you can start your re- relationship with. Mm, mm, because unless the person sees something in you which is worth being, with which they can be with you, you can't announce yourself, your flaws that matters most to you. I'm not saying that you should hide it, but at the same time you should not be so upfront that it is your first conversation going ahead. An interviewer offers you 4 5 minutes or 15 minutes at max to judge you, but if your partner offers you 10 15 minutes, I don't think that you should be pursuing matches over there. A person seeking an interest in you, or wanting to be with you, should have a bit more time, a bit more leniency about understanding you. And over the period of time, you, as good as you might be in your speech or anything, you should have a conversation about it. You should not be portraying it uh, as a thing which can go unnoticed. Because then it feels that you are ashamed of it, and I'm not ashamed about it. I'm not ashamed to talk about it, but at the same time it does not matter to me so much that this should be the first point I should talk about. So I think in personal relationship, the dynamics work somewhat differently compared to interviews. Interviews are quite professional, quite cutthroat kind of thing. You're competing at the edge. You are under a lot of pressure, but I don't think relationships work in that. That is my limited understanding, sir. I'm quite young to you, almost half your age. So my thought and my experiences have shaped what I'm saying, but that might not necessarily be true.
So it's totally fine. Actually, all of us are very different. I mean, all of us stammer. I also stammer.
Yes,
You also
yes,
stammer. There are many people in TISA stammer. In fact, everybody in TISA
yes,
stammer. But we all have our own life experiences which have shaped us
yes.
slightly differently. So it's
Mm.
totally fine, and we should always have space for this kind of diversity of opinions. So this
Right, sir.
totally fine. Definitely.
ऑल आई एम सेइंग दैट कि आप चेयर बेचोगे, ठीक है, आप चेयर बेचो, यू बी ऑनेस्ट अबाउट इट, बट
Yes.
डोंट ओपन विद द थॉट दैट कि इस चेयर में यहाँ पे नॉट है, या फिर ये नेल मैंने दूसरी बार लगाई. If at all you want to say, you can finish it up your self at the end of it. Let's see, it is so and so. I want to be upfront with you. I don't want any surprises later that this chair is having a knot. You have missold me or you have upsold me. That kind of thing. But
I was
and I
joking.
think I
I was
think
only joking.
stammering is like that small knot in the woods. It won't affect the entire wood. Ha- So I think it can it should not be given so much importance. The more importance ऐसा होता है ना सर कि if you see any flaw in something, if you see a white wall with a small spot, every
Hmm.
time you see that white wall, you'll always see that small spot and not the
True.
entire white wall.
Very true.
Uh,
Very true.
I think it is important to see the white wall and how beautiful the wall is rather
Yeah,
than
right.
the spot.
Very true. So, Mohit, thank you so much for joining this session and sharing your wisdom with us. And Tisa really feels proud about your achievements in life. Thank you so much. And keep on growing and keep on marching forward.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for hosting me. I had not prepared about the things I would be speaking in this interview in this meeting, but uh, somehow I have a feeling that I have poured my heart out, and being a good host, you have asked me uh, the right kind of questions, which has brought about these answers. So a really big hand to you too, sir, for asking the right questions. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
being a
Tisa.
great host.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
sir.
much.
Thank
I just